It was a Saturday morning. Pete was cheerfully telling his parents about a new game in Roblox. He got an email earlier this day which said that he could earn some Robux in that game. The only free cheese isn't the mouse trap. Right after having breakfast, Pete asked his parents if he could play on the computer just for a little. He tapped on the link and started collecting the coins. His mom and dad sat down to watch the TV, and it was only a couple of hours later that they noticed that their son was still playing. His mom decided to check on him. "Beef, it's time to go to your training." But the boy just sat in front of the screen as if under a spell. His mother came even closer, but still he didn't pay any attention to her. Then she grabbed the cable, unplugged the PC and started shaking her son. "Would you stop playing? You're acting like a zombie." Pete snapped out of it, grabbed his bag and ran away. He had the greatest mood today. He was planning and imagining what he would buy with his very first earned Robux in the game. His mom didn't even notice how the PC turned on again, and it somehow affected the boy because he swiftly changed his route. Gogi was spending day after day skateboarding and learning new complex tricks. Sport occupied a remarkable place in his life. His friend Bora told him that yesterday he played a cool game and even received some Robux for completing it. "Do you want to play together?" But Gogi simply couldn't believe his friend because he knew that money don't appear on the table just like that. Bora felt offended and left, while Gogi went on skating. "Stop the thief!" Gogi saw a man running with someone's purse in his hands, and he rushed to help. He chased after the villain, returned the bag back to the poor granny, but the offender managed to escape. An old lady thanked the brave boy and asked to accompany her home in case this thief would decide to return. Gogi agreed. During their walk, this nice granny told him how hard it was for her to live alone after her husband passed away, and she invited him to have a cup of tea. Gogi could not refuse. She was showing him the photographs when a huge man appeared in the kitchen. She told this guy how heroic it was of Gogi to get her purse back. "We need people like you." Gogi was left speechless when he learned that her apartment served as a confidential house for special agents, and this grandma was a young girl. Moses offered the guy to become a contract worker and help the FBI. Boozy said that they were looking for the cause of the increase of crime activity in the city. Every second teenager was becoming either a thief or a hooligan, an extortionist, or a murderer. The FBI needed its own people among the youth. Of course, Gogi agreed. Boozy gave their new record a secret badge and the instructions on what he needed to do. The boy felt like a real, cool agent. He was driving around the city looking for those suspicious guys. He went to the most dangerous criminal areas and tried to make friends with the local hooligans to find out what they were planning to do. "Get out of here, rich boy!" Gogi realized that it wouldn't be so easy to blend in the criminal world. He stopped by his friend, Aska. She was incredibly smart and could always suggest some great ideas. "What do you want?" "I need to join the gang." Gogi showed her his badge and told her the story how he successfully prevented a crime and became a special agent's assistant. "It would be so great to work together." But Aska was quite busy at the moment. She was developing a program called Smart City. Not only it would make the citizens' lives more comfortable, but would also help fight crime. "I have to go see the mayor. He needs to approve the project." On the way home, Gogi met Bora and Peeve. He instantly remembered the scoundrel's face. "He is a criminal. Why do you even get in with him?" "This is not true." The boys explained that they met each other in the game and that now they were earning Robux together. Their conversation nearly ended with a fight, and all in all, they parted as enemies. it was already quite late. Gogi returned back home and saw his father sitting sad in the kitchen. He was complaining to his wife that he was not given his paycheck because of the robbery. The bakery owner's daughter secretly sneaked in her father's office and stole all the money from the safe, and now he had nothing to pay out his employees' salaries. The girl was caught, but she claimed that she didn't take anything and that she didn't know where that money went, although the video recording proved that it was her who did it. The news started on TV. The police caught a thief who stole a bicycle and tried to escape from the chase. He got into an accident during detention and was captured. However, his accomplice managed to escape. Gogi was worried. Could it be that his friend also became a thief? When his parents went to bed, the boy went to Moses. He told him everything about his friend and blamed it all on Piff. "I'll take personal charge of this case starting from tomorrow." Gogi came back home and went straight to bed. In his dream, he saw an abandoned city. He felt spooky, hearing the howling of the wind on the empty streets. Screams resounded. It was Boria. He was yelling and asking for help. The rope broke and his friend disappeared in the depth of the hole. Gogi ran closer, but Boria wasn't there anymore, and only the strange numbers were flashing at the bottom of the pit. He woke up from this nightmare in a terrible mood. Shouting was heard at the police station from the very morning. Rupert was interrogating Boria. "I did nothing wrong. I was just playing this game, making Robux, and then all of a sudden I got arrested." Rupert showed him the video where he was escaping from the police riding someone's bike. But Boria just kept crying. "I don't need to steal anything. I make enough money in the game." Rupert decided to check what kind of game it was. He sat down in front of his work PC and began collecting the coins. A code appeared on the screen. The policeman was caught. He immediately destroyed all the evidence against Boria and set the guy free. Boria's cellmates also wanted to escape, but the policeman said that they were not on the special list of favorites. Moses came to the police station. Rupert reported that there's been a mistake and they caught a wrong guy. Moses was quite surprised, but he didn't have enough time to discuss the details as he was urgently summoned to his department. Gogi was chilling at home when a new video of his favorite karate blogger came out. The guy was showing various fatal blows, and Gogi tried to repeat after him. But then, this blogger began to advertise a new game where people could earn Robux. Gogi remembered how Boria and Pete told him about that same game. He clicked on the link and started collecting the coins. The guys were already waiting for Gogi in the alley. Piff smashed the window of a jewelry store. They all climbed inside and began collecting jewelry, completely ignoring the alarm. As they were finished, they went straight to the black market, sold the loot, threw most of the Robux at an ATM, and transferred them to an anonymous account. Gogi woke up at home. A message saying "task completed" flashed on the screen. A pack of Robux rested on the table, and some strange man was watching all this in front of his powerful PC. Gogi couldn't understand how this money ended up laying on his desk. The first thing he did was calling Aska and telling her everything, but the girl simply didn't believe him. To prove this all was real, Gogi sent her a link to the game. Aska analyzed the file with an antivirus program, and a danger warning appeared on the screen. She then tried to enter the source code, but the file's protection was extremely difficult to hack. Suddenly, someone rang on the doorbell. The postman brought an answer from the city mayor. The letter said that her smart city project was approved. Aska got so excited that she just removed this useless game and went straight to the mayor's office. Gogi decided to act on his own. He found some tutorials on how to become a punk on YouTube, learned their jargon, bought everything he needed in a thrift store, found some iron plate in the garbage can, and used the drill to make brass knuckles out of it. And finally, being completely confident about himself, he set off to infiltrate gangs of the city. He was passing by a neighborhood when he saw some thugs hitting an ice cream van with their bats. Gogi wanted to join them, but they scared him off. "Who the hell are you? Get lost, boy!" Then Gogi saw some hooligans throwing stones at the school windows. He tried to show them that he was on theme too, but he was missing all the time. These guys laughed him off and kicked him out of their gang. Gogi was nearly hopeless, but he decided to give it the last try, and he approached a group of guys using the cool language he learned. "Yo, what's up, dudes? Let's ruffle some feathers." But these hooligans chased him away too. He decided that helping the FBI was not exactly his thing. But right at the moment, that same binary code appeared on the screen of his PC. Gogi turned around. "Are you going, bro? We gotta hurry." He felt as if he's known them for his entire life. The whole gang ran into the alley. There, they received everything they needed, their new disguise, and today's mission. Rupert was already waiting for them near the police station. He helped them light Molotov cocktails, and they committed a hideous crime. Gogi woke up in front of his computer. His clothes smelled of gasoline. Breaking news resounded from the TV in the next room. "Unknown criminals and the police Major Rupert set the police station on fire. The FBI is already interrogating the traitor, but he claims he has nothing to do with it." A meeting dedicated to the urgent implementation of the Smart City project was held in the town hall. The mayor allocated 2 billion Robux to upgrade the city, but while going through the paperwork, they were left with only 1 billion. By the time this money reached the construction company, it was discovered that another 900 million were missing. As a result, they had to buy cheap Chinese equipment. Asuka was leading the entire process herself. The workers upgraded every pole, every fence, and every house. All the shops, city, transport, and even public toilets were improved too. The brain of the smart city was placed in the mayor's office, well hidden in a vault locked with a thick steel door. Now in the case someone urgently wanted to use the toilet, he would just press the button in the specific app, and the toilet would drive up to that person. Electric buses and UAV drones plied along the streets. Vacuum cleaning robots delivered food right to the house doors and vacuumed the streets along the way. Pets were walked by quadricopters, and if it started to rain, the bus stop accompanied the residents right to their houses. In case someone committed a crime, the Robocops were very well equipped for catching the offenders. Bullets could not harm them in any way, so they could catch the most dangerous bandits without breaking a sweat. At night, the policemen could sleep calmly as the Robocops continued to patrol the city. These officers of steel didn't need to rest. But that wasn't all that a smart city could do. In such cases, when the Robocops failed to catch the criminal, even the trash cans activated to help them. It became so much easier to catch traffic violators because there was no way for them to drive down, as these criminals were instantly caught up in the traps of the smart city. Police stations were overcrowded with criminals. The smart city was super effective. The mayor invited Asuka to a TV show. Everyone congratulated her, and she revealed how the idea of helping the city came to her. Asuka was awarded with a prize, and the mayor gave her the certificate of an honorary citizen of Roblox. "The smart city is a complete mess." Boozy was going through a video recording from the secret badge on Goggy's body. She saw how the guy started playing some suspicious game and how he was attacked by a virus. She reported what she has seen to Moses, and they both watched this video to the very end. And she came to realize that a dangerous hacker appeared in Roblox. Moses sent Boozy to tell Goggy that he was in danger, and he himself rushed to warn the mayor straight to the TV show. He hastily ran up onto the stage. "You must shut the internet and destroy the Smart City project." The mayor was enraged with such behavior and ordered to kick this inadequate FBI agent out of the room. One of the Robocops quickly completed this task. Meanwhile, Boozy made it to Goggy's house. He was extremely surprised to meet her. "Unplug your computer right now!" Goggy was about to carry out Boozy's order, but the binary code appeared on the screen again, and the guy grabbed the chair and knocked the poor girl out. A Robocop reloaded its gun and finished the regular cops up. All the people were handcuffed to their chairs, and no one could get out. This hacker, John Doe, appeared on that huge screen.
I am a robot.
Goggy could barely open his eyes. The doctor was driving him on a car through some catacombs. Asuka ran behind. She was yelling and asking for forgiveness. No one paid any attention to the boy, even though he was wounded in the stomach. They put him in the operating room and asked Asuka to wait outside. Unfortunately, they were out of pain relievers and antiseptics, so the operation had to be done with dirtied instruments. Goggy was in excruciating pain, but he bravely went through it. The operation was successful. His wound was stitched up. Goggy woke up in a hospital room. Asuka was sitting right next to him. "What's going on here?" "You should be staying in bed. You're still weak." Asuka tried to comfort her friend and then told him the truth, that 10 years had passed since the last met. On that exact day, when she completed her Smart City project, Goggy sent her a link to the game. Asuka didn't notice that the virus that was in that game infected all of her files, so she brought an already infected project to the mayor's office. The mayor approved it without any doubts, and the Smart City was launched. Indeed, Roblox citizens had great use of it, but then during the TV show, the virus got activated. Robocops infected residents, as well as the Smart City itself, began to seize control of Overlook. Asuka and the mayor were taken prisoners and escorted somewhere along the corridor, but Moses set up an ambush behind the stacks, and the prisoners managed to escape. They stormed out into the street and just couldn't recognize the city. It was in a state of utter chaos. The Smart City program was helping Robocops capture civilians. It blocked the vehicles, as well as anything connected to the network altogether. John Doe's face appeared on each screen of the city.
"People of Overlook, surrender! Your city is conquered. Resistance is futile. I am giving you a chance to play my game voluntarily. Free slot machines will be installed by every metro station."
Some people obeyed and went to play the game. Huge lines of people formed near the machines. However, not every other person wanted to be a vegetable. Many attempted to destroy the slot machines, but these attempts were promptly eliminated by Robocops and the Smart City. Moses managed to get to his secret headquarters and inform Roblox president that Overlook was in the state of emergency. The country's leader got nervous and immediately commanded Overlook to be disconnected from the common internet. The military cut off the cables that led to the infected city and destroyed the satellites. bombers attempted to destroy the smart city's brain center by airstrikes, but an electromagnetic shield formed above the city, and none of the missiles reached their target. Those uninfected residents of Overlook began to unite. They started gathering in small groups in such places where the police would not find them and the video cameras would not detect them. Moses, Aska, the city mayor, and the big man Hans were among the most active members. The mayor suggested creating a partisan resistance. It happened that Hans knew a perfectly suitable place, the abandoned catacombs on the outskirts of the city. They equipped the place with sleeping places, made a dining room, and built a small hospital. Of course, there was not enough food, so they had to grow some plants and keep livestock. Someone even brought a cow, and starting from then, Aska drank milk every morning before delving into Robocop blocking equipment development in her small closet. All insurgents had a red bandage on their arms to be able to distinguish their people from the infected ones in case of the clash. John Doe forbade celebrating birthdays or having fun. Robocops destroyed every playground and all the amusement parks. Infected ones only played their stupid game and occasionally went out to rob the city. They brought the loot to the specialized warehouses. Boozy was supervising the robot loaders. She had to deal with bookkeeping, write everything down in a journal, and command where to put the next load. Goggy and Rupert were responsible for keeping order. The smart city was giving them the coordinates of the location of non-infected residents, and they had to capture them. They chained those poor people to the slot machines and forced them to play. After being brainwashed with the binary code, the newly infected residents joined the existing gangs. Nearly all of the city's shops, apartments, shopping centers, and banks have already been looted. Boozy didn't have enough time to accept all the loot, but anyway, John Doe simply couldn't seize all the citizens. A lot of them were hiding in basements, in the attics of their houses, under bridges, and even in sewers. The rebel forces were looking for such people and bringing them to their hideout. There, the new recruits received military training and went to the front line to fight the smart city. Their primary goal was to destroy the surveillance cameras, and their second goal was to break the mechanical traps of the smart city. And if the Robocops managed to find them, the rebels threw Molotov cocktails at them. Once they even managed to catch an infected police officer. The man was immediately brought to the base, and the scientists began to examine the virus that settled inside of his head. They discovered that the virus could be destroyed with ordinary microwaves, and that just a regular device would do. Once, when a group of rebels was canvassing the area, they saw a house burning, and someone leaned out the window and shouting for help. The guys decided to bring a soft mattress to rescue these people. The survivors said that their parents died of hunger and they had to survive. The mayor commanded the group to search an abandoned pharmacy on their way to the base. Hans knocked out the surveillance camera to prevent the smart city from spying on them. The whole group got inside. They found a great chunk of the medicines they needed, stuffed their bags fully, and were about to leave when a sudden noise resounded from under one of the rescued teenagers' clothes. A GPS tracker was found during the search. It was a trap. All of them turned out to be cyborgs.
You are surrounded! Come out with your hands up!
Rupert's group was advancing from one flank, while Goggy's did from the other side. I better die than become a vegetable! It was a double trap. Moses and a group of militants were observing the situation from an ambush. Snipers held all the infected ones at gunpoint. The insurgents threw smoke grenades all around the pharmacy to to leave the infected ones completely disoriented. Under cover of the smoke screen, they were knocking out the cops, handcuffing them, and attaching Asuka's jammers to Robocops. These machines were getting dumb and simply couldn't understand what they needed to do. Gogi resisted fiercely and took a sniper bullet in the stomach. Moses found that same exact camera badge on his clothes. Bring him to the base, quick! Gogi was unconscious. He was stripped, cured of the virus, and sent to the operating table. Moses took out the flash drive from his damaged page. It still contained these decade-old records. It showed how Boozy ran to Gogi's house to save him from the virus. But the guy knocked her out, put her in front of the computer, and forced her to play John Doe's game. Then, they went to the city center together. Rupert was already standing there, confusedly staring at the sky. They raised their hats too, and saw a spaceship that was approaching them. Then it landed, the ramp came down, and they confidently walked inside. Enter the teleport! They followed the order, entered the sphere of glowing energy, and ended up at John Doe's base. The man informed them that he would soon take control over the entire Roblox, and that Boozy, Gogi, and Rupert would become his henchmen. Follow me! He walked them around the base. His entire place was supplied with ultra-modern equipment. In one of the rooms, they saw the iron armor securely placed behind the bulletproof glass. John Doe boasted that it was his personal invention, the Iron Man suit, and happily agreed to demonstrate how it works. He undressed and got inside the suit. The needles pierced his body. The iron armor sealed. John Doe turned into an invincible robot. The guys were simply astonished. When this small excursion was over, John gave them a detailed plan of actions, assigned everyone their roles, escorted them to the teleport, and they relocated to the city. Then, the recording was cut off. Moses played the video back to the moment where John Doe was undressing. He zoomed in and saw a distinct birthmark on his arm. He saw the exact same mark on Asuka's hand when he was fixing it up after another scuffle. He immediately told Asuka about all that, and the girl was so confused. She didn't know her parents at all. She was dropped off at the door of an orphanage when she was just a baby. The only thing she had was this pendant. This whole story was just shocking for Gogi. He simply couldn't believe that this all really happened. Moses dragged the wounded scout inside the hospital. Doctors provided him with emergency assistance. He could barely speak, but it was quite clear what happened to him. Celine was observing the situation with the wall of the infected ones when he saw a truck fully loaded with Robux, diamonds, and gold driving out of the main gate. The guy followed this truck right to the dock, where it drove onto the cargo beach, which headed into the open sea. Celine decided to use a motorboat. He sailed very far from the coast. The scout tried to stay as far from the barge as possible to prevent the Robocops from detecting him. The truck drove up to the very edge of the vessel and dumped the entire load into the water. Without any hesitation, he dived right into the water and saw the jewels falling right into the giant hatch of a huge submarine. When he wanted to surface, the barge sailed too close to him. The Robocops detected the guy and started shooting. Celine got wounded, but still managed to escape. Now the rebels had a new target, the submarine. They studied Asuka's birthmark, compared it with the one John Doe had on his arm, and concluded they were identical. The pendant was handed over to a local scientist for further examination. As he was finished with studying, the man managed to open it. Inside, they found some letters and numbers that resembled a password. "This pendant is not from our universe. What makes you think so? The atoms of metal are completely different." Everyone looked at Asuka with suspicion. It was obvious she wasn't as simple. A night-long meeting was held in Moses' office. The group tried to develop a plan of how to get into the submarine. It was closer to the morning that they gathered everything they needed and went on a mission. Everything was going with no incidents near the storage. The mayor was keeping an eye on the exit, and others were waiting in an ambush. As soon as the truck headed outside the gate, the mayor signaled. Asuka laid across the road, and the truck stopped. The guard left the vehicle to check what happened. Right at the moment, Hans struck him with a powerful blow, and Moses pulled the driver out of the car. They stole their uniforms and tied them up. The mayor and Hans disguised themselves as infected ones. Meanwhile, Moses and Asuka prepared themselves to dive into the water and hid in the back right under the load. They drove through the city right to the dock with no obstacles. Robocops have been waiting for them. The mayor demonstrated his pass, drove onto the barge, and the vessel set out to the sea. When they reached the appointed place, someone signaled to dump the cargo. The mayor backed up, activated the hose, and the load fell right into the sea, together with Moses and Asuka. They took hold of the gold, and these heavy bars held them to lower down. The submarine had already been waiting with an open hold. The hatch shut as soon as they entered, and the water was quickly pumped out. Some strange sound resounded. The main gate opened, and mini loaders drove into the hold to distribute the goods. Asuka attached her jammers to them. After that, they quickly took off their suits and went to look for the way out. A service elevator was located in the second compartment, right behind the containers. It had no buttons, but a scanner which appeared right from the wall. It scanned Asuka's birthmark, and the elevator started moving. They ended up in the main room. Moses saw this exact place when he watched the recordings from Gogi's camera. Asuka found the hacker's PC and got down to study the files. The alarm went off. Robocops burst into the room. Moses and Asuka were handcuffed to their chairs. Computers were set up on the table. A Robocop tried to force them to play John Doe's game, but none of them wanted to give up.
If you refuse to play, you will die.
John Doe entered the cell. He wanted to be there in person to see who dared to break into his base. But the moment he saw the birthmark on Asuka's shoulder, his face distorted as if scalded by boiling water. He fell to his knees and began to cry. "My girl, you are alive!" He told her everything. An ordinary kid, David Bazuki, had a great interest in coding since the school years. He hated the real world, as it was quite tough for him. His parents spent their whole time working, and his father hardly had any time to take him to the cinema. He lived in quite a criminal neighborhood and couldn't fight back, so the hooligans kept bullying him day after day. David was simply dreaming of creating some virtual world where he would matter. To start with, he decided to create a completely empty universe with only one star and one small block. He found a pair of virtual glasses from the PlayStation among his old things and found a cheap broken tanning bed on a Craigslist. After that, he configured the equipment and connected it to his virtual universe. "I'll name it Roblox." He got inside of his machine. The process of consciousness synchronization with the Roblox universe started, and the guy got inside. He was standing in space on this block. Suddenly, the fuse got blown, and David came back. He checked on the main switchboard. It became clear to him that he needed more money to buy better equipment. "Step up, everyone! Check my new attraction, the virtual parkour!" There was no end to the clients, as everyone wanted to experience the new sensations and jump on these blocks in open space. Meanwhile, the global warming began on Earth. No rain was expected in the next 5 years. The plants had died, and people started hiding in caves and building houses underground to escape the heat. By the time David Baszucki had saved enough money, he bought himself a small underground shelter, hired an experienced programmer, John Doe, and they started building the virtual immortality capsules together and created the first virtual town, Adopt. If a person was placed in one of the sealed capsules, his body wouldn't get older, and that person would be able to live in Roblox forever. Even if a person died in the virtual world, he could buy himself a new born avatar. They always hid the key from Roblox in the safe so that competitors wouldn't have any chance to steal it. There wasn't quite enough money for further development, so they decided to sell the capsule places to the rich. As the heat progressed, the only landscape left on Earth was desert, and people felt really bored living underground. So when they learned of the possibility to become immortal and even live in decent conditions, the millionaires started booking the capsule places, paying 100 million for each. David Baszucki finally became a multi-billionaire and was able to build a giant underground capsule storage. Though all the rich moved to the VIP servers in Roblox, a lot of other people who couldn't raise such a large amount of money were left on Earth in the real life. They huddled together in small caves. Their last canned supplies ran short. It was obvious that these people couldn't afford the VIP capsules. David Baszucki designed the inexpensive multi-seat capsules paired with special low-cost cities. Finally, the poor were able to get into Roblox, though their cities were devastatingly bad. Chinese plumbing was constantly leaking, the roads were terrible, and they were offered the dirtiest work. But still, it was better than living in the real world's heat. Suddenly, one of the low-cost cities starting to lag terribly. David sent John Doe's team to repair the lagging server on site. The team settled into their seats, and the capsules got activated. Bright light illuminated them, and in just a moment, everyone passed out, and their consciousness relocated to Roblox. John Doe was shocked by how the surroundings looked like. It was illustrated much better on the computer screen than in reality. They settled down on the outskirts of the city to avoid unnecessary attention and started fixing the server errors. One of the employees was a newbie in the team. He made a fatal mistake in the code, which made the server go down completely. All capsules linked to it began to smoke and interrupt the work of other servers. A breakdown occurred in the low-cost capsule storage. David Baszucki ordered to lock the poor's compartment and fill it with concrete to protect the capsules of the rich Earthlings. He contacted John Doe to say that they had no choice but to destroy that server together with their consciousness. The whole team was shocked. How could David Baszucki betray them for money? The programs became inoperative one after another. The poor employees tried their best to fix something, but the server continued collapsing and their bodies began to fade. It was David Baszucki's way of handling the unnecessary problems. John was in panic too. He had to save himself. He gave the command to gather all the equipment they had and started assembling a smart pixel converter. When the machine was ready, a new problem occurred. These smart pixels could only be extracted from a Roblox inhabitant's body. That new guy who made a mistake climbed into the divider. "I will sacrifice myself. It was because of my fault that everyone got in trouble." John and his team were shocked. The worker's body instantly disintegrated into a bunch of pixels, which in their turn transformed into a healing plasma. With its help, they somehow restored the entire server. John managed to disconnect the low-cost town from the main server on Earth to prevent David from destroying it completely. That was the moment their server started its offline autonomous existence in the Roblox universe. John's team continued their development and came to realize that it was possible to connect all the servers with the help of that plasma. But for that, they needed to get more of it. One of the workers said that he wished to voluntarily give his square body away in the name of science. The test was successful and they managed to connect to another server, but they quickly ran out of plasma. Then another worker wished to sacrifice his body for the sake of the virtual life's expansion, and they managed to connect to even more servers. The whole team died eventually, but they used the servers to create a whole planet named Roblox. David Baszucki was freaking out. He could no longer control his own virtual world. He couldn't erase John Doe from Roblox either, as this smart man put a powerful firewall on his account. This is my universe! David was clearly going mad. He broke the people's consciousness distribution block. Consequently, Roblox inhabitants lost their memories of Earth, and no one remembered that he or she had once been a human and lived on Earth. Jane, John Doe's wife, grabbed up from behind and knocked the psycho out. She stole the key from Roblox from his safe. John was navigating her through the spatial communication, and she quickly reached the vault with rich Earthlings' bodies running through the long corridors. David came round, barely made it to the computer, and saw John Doe's wife slipping past his employees, entering the office and hitting him on the head on the video surveillance camera. He saw her stealing the key from Roblox from the safe and running towards the vault. "Come to me urgently!" Several sturdy men ran into the office. David Baszucki told them he would give all his billions to whoever caught this woman, and the chase began. "Search for a free capsule!" "I will, honey!" Jane opened the cells one after another, but all the places were occupied. Finally, she found one free capsule in the very corner of the room. She hid the key from Roblox in her pendant, put it in her daughter's cradle, and sent her to Roblox alone. A bunch of angry men burst into the vault. They grabbed the woman and dragged her to David. "John!" "Jane, what's going on there?" The line went dead. John realized something terrible had just happened. Aska hugged her father. Even Moses had tears in his eyes. Was he really a man before all of this happened? Aska told her father that he should stop the war with David and abandon the idea of capturing the whole Roblox. John followed his daughter's advice and entered the code needed to liberate the city. The electromagnetic shield that hovered over the overlook disappeared, and the smart city was freed from virus. Robocop started restoring the infrastructure together with the residents. "We must go back to Earth and save Jane!" Aska handed the pendant over to her father. The man took out the key, entered the main Roblox code, and linked the teleport with the planet Earth. Flames burst out from the teleport. They saw a blazing planet on their screen. The Earth was burning. A fire started in the cabin. "Everyone follow me!" They all rushed to the emergency exit. The escape compartment's door started getting down. Moses quickly reacted. John and Aska crawled under it, but they didn't want to abandon their friend. "Go! The fire is too close!" "Goodbye, Moses!" Aska got into the lifeboat together with her father and they both safely left the submarine. The barge was still waiting for them, but there was no one on the deck. They swam closer, climbed onto the barge, and saw that people on the deck were all killed. Hans came out of the cabin. "We meet at last, John Doe." Robo-invaders appeared in the sky. Aska and John were surrounded. "Hans, calm down, he's my father." Hans took his disguise off, and David Baszucki himself appeared before them. "Where is my wife? Your wife caused me a lot of trouble." David told him that when he demanded Jane to give him the Roblox key back, the sun began to burn even more. The surface of the earth heated up to 1,000 degrees. That fire from the earth reached the underground rooms, and a terrible fire broke out. David's billions burned up. There was only one way to Roblox left, through the very first tanning bag. Every single person rushed to it, but David took out a gun and killed those who wanted to take this place. "And now return the key to Roblox back to me." Suddenly, Moses flew out from under the water wearing John's iron suit. He destroyed all the invaders with a few sharp movements and captured Roblox creator. "Moses, you're alive!" When the fire got too close, Moses pulled out the door with all his might and somehow managed to jump out. He made his way to the laboratory, put on the super suit, and punched through the hull of the submarine. "Now I'll feed you to the sharks." "No, mommy, don't do that." "What?" It turned out that David Baszucki's mother chose the body of a newborn baby. She was one of the first Roblox inhabitants. Later on, this child ended up in an orphanage. And those who have watched the story of Bandit Roblox know Moses since he was a child. "You don't deserve to be forgiven." The guys agreed that they shouldn't tell anyone about what they've learned to avoid unnecessary panic in Roblox. John Doe put on his suit, took Aska, and they both flew to a desert island, where his secret base was located. Moses returned to the shore, where Gogi met him. "Where is Aska?" "Don't worry, she is okay."